Imagine two neighbors living in the same quiet suburb, yet experiencing vastly different financial realities despite their similar external environments. One neighbor earns a high salary, yet lives paycheck to paycheck, constantly stressed by the weight of their own expensive possessions. Their home is filled with unused gadgets and decor that demand constant maintenance, expensive storage, and significant amounts of mental energy. In contrast, the second neighbor earns significantly less, yet maintains a simple, intentional home that radiates peace and financial stability. This neighbor boasts substantial savings and a clear sense of security, proving that wealth is not merely about the size of a paycheck. This striking contrast highlights a fundamental truth. Every object we own carries hidden costs far beyond its initial retail price tag. We often ignore the opportunity costs of our purchases, which act as silent barriers preventing our personal wealth from ever truly growing. To break free from this cycle of endless accumulation, one must adopt a minimalist framework that views money as a tool for optionality. Instead of using money as a means for status, we should treat it as a resource that grants us the freedom to choose. By calculating the true cost per use of our items, we can begin to see which possessions are actually serving our long-term goals. Utilizing the replacement test helps us distinguish between genuine needs and the impulsive desires that often clutter our living spaces and budgets. Finally, by refusing to upgrade our belongings out of simple boredom, we shift our focus from acquiring things to building lasting financial freedom. Minimalism is not about deprivation. It is a strategic approach to ensure that your financial resources align with your deepest personal values. When we stop viewing consumption as a path to happiness, we unlock the ability to direct our capital toward meaningful life experiences. Consider the hidden price of a boat or a home gym, which requires not just money, but ongoing insurance, maintenance, and precious time. The lifestyle multiplier effect reminds us that every major purchase creates a ripple of additional expenses that can quietly drain our savings. Minimalists evaluate this entire ecosystem before buying, ensuring they understand the long-term impact on their ability to remain financially flexible. Defining enough is the most powerful tool in your arsenal, preventing the dangerous trap of lifestyle inflation that plagues many high earners. When you clearly define what is sufficient for your needs, additional income becomes a powerful engine for wealth instead of funding upgrades. True wealth is measured by optionality, the ability to quit a toxic job, support a family member, or pursue a new venture. Every unnecessary purchase trades a piece of your future optionality for an object that will eventually lose its luster and utility. Ongoing decluttering is the final piece of the puzzle, preventing the slow creep of accumulation that often follows a single big purge. By performing regular reviews of our belongings, we maintain a conscious awareness of our consumption habits and prevent clutter from returning. Start small by identifying 10 items you would not replace today and commit to removing them from your home and your life. Implement a mandatory 24-hour waiting period for all non-essential purchases to curb the impulse-driven spending that undermines your financial progress. Counting your possessions in major categories like clothing or kitchen tools provides a sobering reality check on how much you truly own. Awareness is the catalyst for change, and setting strict limits on what you allow into your home will fundamentally alter your behavior. Systems will always outperform willpower, so automate your savings and investing to ensure your financial future is prioritized before you spend. Remove saved credit card information from your devices and delete shopping apps to create necessary friction against the ease of modern consumption. Unsubscribing from marketing emails is a simple but effective way to reduce the external pressure to buy things you never intended to purchase. Treating your savings like a fixed, non-negotiable bill ensures that your wealth grows consistently regardless of your monthly income fluctuations. Renting or borrowing equipment before you commit to a new hobby is a practical way to test your genuine interest and needs. Many garages are filled with expensive reminders of temporary enthusiasm, proving that we often buy for the person we hope to become. By testing an activity first, you save money and avoid the burden of storing equipment that will likely gather dust after a week. The relationship between minimalism and money is cyclical. Owning less helps build wealth, and building wealth reduces the urge to accumulate. As your savings grow, your sense of security deepens, and the psychological need to seek external validation through purchases begins to fade. This positive cycle creates a virtuous loop where spending less leads to saving more, which in turn fosters a desire for even less. Conversely, the cycle of spending for emotional relief creates a state of perpetual insecurity that drives even more reckless financial behavior. Your income level does not dictate which cycle you live in, but your conscious choices regarding your possessions certainly do determine it. After your basic needs for comfort and security are met, additional possessions often provide diminishing returns on your overall life happiness. The person earning $55,000 with significant savings didn't achieve this through luck, but through clarity of their own priorities. They understood that their money was a tool to buy freedom, not a currency to purchase items that would eventually own them. The high earner living paycheck to paycheck is trapped by the assumption that more possessions are synonymous with a better life. Both paths are available to everyone, regardless of his current salary, because the choice is rooted in mindset rather than income. Ask yourself if you are currently the master of your belongings or if you are working to support the things you own. Financial freedom is not a destination, but a daily practice of making intentional decisions that serve your long-term vision of life. When you strip away the excess, you are left with the space to focus on what truly brings you joy and fulfillment. The cost of an object is never just the price tag. It is the time you spent working to earn that money. By valuing your time as much as your money, you become much more selective about what you allow into your personal space. Minimalism provides the clarity needed to navigate a consumer-driven world without losing sight of your ultimate financial and personal goals. Every item you choose to keep should earn its place in your home by providing genuine utility or profound personal happiness. If it does not serve you, it is likely draining you of resources that could be better spent on your future freedom. The journey toward intentional living is a process of refinement where you constantly evaluate and adjust your relationship with the material world. As you shed the unnecessary, you will find that your stress levels decrease and your ability to focus on meaningful work increases. Building a life of optionality requires the courage to go against the grain and reject the societal pressure to constantly upgrade. Your future self will thank you for the sacrifices you make today by choosing to live with less and save for more. Wealth is not what you show the world. It is the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are prepared for anything. Take the first step today by auditing one small area of your life and reclaiming the resources that were previously tied up. The power to change your financial trajectory is entirely in your hands, waiting for you to make the decision to start. Choose to own your life, rather than letting your possessions own you, and watch as your path to true freedom unfolds. Transitioning to a life of intentional ownership requires replacing impulsive habits with structured systems that create friction for spending and ease for saving. Human behavior naturally follows the path of least resistance, so you must design your environment to make reckless spending difficult to execute. Start by removing saved credit card information from your browsers and deleting shopping apps that send constant notifications to your mobile devices. Unsubscribe from marketing emails that tempt you with sales and implement a mandatory 24-hour waiting period for every single non-essential purchase. Conversely, make saving money the default action by automating your investments so that funds are transferred immediately upon receiving your paycheck. Treat your savings goals like a fixed monthly bill, ensuring that your financial future is prioritized before you even have the chance to spend. Systems will always outperform willpower, and these small structural changes create the necessary distance between your impulses and your bank account balance. Beyond managing spending, you must also actively count your possessions to gain a clear, objective view of what is actually filling your home. Choose specific categories like clothing, shoes, or kitchen tools, and you will likely find that you own far more than you ever realized. Once you acknowledge that you own 50 shirts, the act of purchasing a 51st item feels fundamentally different and much less necessary. Awareness is the first step toward changing behavior, and many minimalists set strict limits or use one-in, one-out rules to prevent accumulation. Another powerful strategy is to rent or borrow equipment before committing to a purchase, especially when exploring new hobbies or temporary interests. Most new enthusiasms create a surge of excitement that fades quickly, leaving behind expensive reminders of a passion that didn't last. By renting camping gear or borrowing tools, you test whether your interest is genuine and learn exactly what equipment is truly required. This habit prevents your garage and closets from becoming graveyards for expensive items that were purchased during a moment of fleeting inspiration. Furthermore, you must understand the lifestyle multiplier, where every major purchase creates a ripple effect of additional, often hidden, ongoing expenses. A boat, for example, requires storage, insurance, maintenance, and towing, meaning the true cost is always significantly higher than the initial price tag. Minimalists evaluate the entire ecosystem of a purchase before they buy, recognizing that every object demands your time, energy, and future capital. Perhaps the most critical rule is to define what enough means to you before your income rises and lifestyle inflation takes hold. Many high earners never set this boundary, so as their salary grows, their spending grows in lockstep, and the goalpost keeps moving. A larger house becomes the new normal, and a luxury car becomes an expected standard, leaving no room for actual wealth accumulation. When you define what is sufficient, you gain the power to use additional income to build long-term wealth instead of funding endless upgrades. This leads to a fundamental shift in how you measure your success, moving away from counting possessions toward measuring your financial optionality. Most people mistakenly measure wealth by the size of their inventory, but minimalists measure wealth by the freedom to make life choices. True wealth is the ability to walk away from a toxic job, take time off for family, or pivot toward a new career path. These life-changing choices require a significant financial margin that is impossible to maintain if your income is tied up in depreciating assets. Someone earning $200,000 while spending it all has very little freedom compared to someone earning less but saving aggressively. Every single purchase you make is a trade-off, where you exchange a piece of your future optionality for a temporary material object. To maintain this clarity, you must practice ongoing decluttering rather than relying on a single massive purge that eventually leads to reaccumulation. Minimalists use regular weekly or monthly reviews to prevent clutter from returning, maintaining a constant awareness of their consumption habits over time. To begin applying these principles, start this week by identifying 10 items you would not replace if they were lost today and remove them. This month, commit to the 24-hour waiting period for every non-essential purchase, allowing the initial impulse to fade before you decide. This quarter, count the possessions in a few major categories and set reasonable limits that reflect the life you actually want to live. Take the time to define what enough means for your housing, transportation, and clothing, and watch how these small constraints compound over time. The results of this intentionality are profound. As your spending becomes focused, your savings grow, and your financial stress begins to dissipate. An important truth about this relationship is that it works both ways. Owning less helps you build wealth, and building wealth reduces the urge. As your savings grow, your sense of security increases, and the desperate need to seek comfort or status through new purchases begins to fade. This creates a powerful positive cycle where spending less leads to saving more, which makes you feel secure and desire even less. The opposite cycle is equally real, where spending more leads to insecurity, which triggers more emotional spending to find temporary relief. Your income alone does not determine which of these two cycles you live in. Your philosophy regarding possessions is the deciding factor. The minimalist approach is never about deprivation. It is gangganging that after basic comfort is met, more stuff adds little happiness. The person earning $55,000 with significant savings did not achieve it through luck, but through clarity of purpose. They understood that their money was a tool for freedom, not a ticket to fill their home with things they did not need. Conversely, the person earning $100,000 but living paycheck to paycheck never questioned the assumption that more equals better. Both of these paths are available to you right now, regardless of your current income level or your past financial mistakes. The real question is simple yet profound. Do you want to own your possessions, or will you let your possessions own you? When you stop chasing the next purchase, you find that the space you create is filled with the peace of mind you once lacked. By setting clear limits on the number of possessions you own, you can effectively prevent the lifestyle inflation that traps many high earners. Consider renting items before buying them to test their true utility and define for yourself exactly what constitutes enough to live a fulfilling life. The goal is to move away from the cycle of spending for emotional relief and toward a positive feedback loop of financial growth. In this new cycle, increased savings lead to greater security, which in turn reduces your internal desire for external material validation and status. Ultimately, minimalism is not about deprivation, but about recognizing that true wealth is measured by your ability to make significant life choices. This might mean having the financial runway to leave a toxic job, pursue a passion project, or retire years earlier than you once expected. By decluttering your space regularly and measuring success through freedom rather than inventory, you can finally reclaim your long-term financial autonomy. This shift ensures that you own your possessions, rather than letting your possessions own you, creating a life defined by purpose instead of clutter. Every dollar you save is a vote for your future self, providing you with the power to design a life that aligns with your values. As you strip away the excess, you reveal the core of what truly matters, allowing you to focus your energy on experiences and relationships. Financial freedom is not a destination you reach after buying everything you want, but a state of mind you cultivate by wanting less. Start today by making one small change, and trust that the cumulative effect of these intentional choices will transform your entire financial landscape. Choose to own your life, choose to own your future, and let go of the things that are only holding you back from true prosperity.